Good morning. If you would, just settle into your seat. Feel your body relax just where you are. Lower or close your eyes. I am going to read a love letter from God to you. I hope that as you listen to the words I speak, that you will embody the message and feel the love wash over you. To my precious one, do you know how much I love you? I have loved you since the beginning of time. I will love you until the end of time. There is not one part of you that I don't love. I love your smile, your laugh. I love your fears and your sadness. I love your mistakes, and I love your humanity. In you, I see magnificence, power, sensitivity, and caring. In you, I see nobility of spirit and generosity. I see how you give everything you can in every situation. I see how you blame yourself when you can't give what you want to. Oh, how I wish you wouldn't do that. Please know that I know you are doing the best you can with what you have. You are on a journey, and this journey allows for you to learn, stretch, and grow. When there are roadblocks, they are reminders to slow down, look within, and find me. I will help you discover the answers you seek and which direction to next take. All I desire is to give to you. In every situation, you have a choice to feel my presence or believe you're on your own. Please remember that I'm here. I have sent you into a world filled with flowers, trees, and sunshine. I have placed you in a palace of growth and opportunity. Do you know how your smile lights up the world? When you smile at another, your radiance warms their hearts. When you live authentically, you are allowing me to live through you. I see you. I know the small, subtle acts of kindness that you do, and I celebrate them. You are full of light and love and goodness, and though you don't always know this, I do. You may at times think that there are difficulties and that may mean I am not nearby. This is a mistake. I am always with you. You know pain and therefore have compassion. You know struggle and therefore have humility. You know loneliness and therefore have kindness. You look out for the one who feels left out. I love you with all of my being for now and eternity. I know who you are. You are a soul destined for greatness. You are one that I count on to bring kindness to the world. You are not only beloved, you are worthy. Worthy of love, worthy of gifts, worthy of friendship, worthy of receiving help. Please, my dear, accept the love that I send you through human messengers. Accept the opportunities to give and to share, knowing that I believe in you. You are worthy of all things good. I want to bring you surprises and delights and miracles. I love you. I love you. I love you. never leave you. Namaste.
Good morning, everybody. Wow, you came on a wonderful morning, because if you experience that, oh my gosh. I felt like God was speaking right to me when she said that. You promise you'll never leave? I'll never leave you either. Wow, are you guys ready to sing? Beautiful song. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let Spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free. As I continue walking in this mystery, I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am grateful every moment, every day. One more verse. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I surrender to my greatest, highest good. I release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am kinder every moment, every day. I'm gonna do them wrong. And I am grateful every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day. Thank you for following along and sounding beautiful. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
if you would, once again, just lower or close your eyes. And as I speak this affirmative prayer, just know that my words can be your words. I just allow myself to fall into that grace of God that is always present. Because God is in and through everyone, everywhere. As peace, as love, as harmony, as unity, as divine guidance, as health and prosperity. And each and every one of these attributes of the divine is true about me, for I am one with the one. Oh, and I know that as this is true for me, it is true for each and every person who can hear my voice. Each expect and accept the grace of God in all that we do, all that we think, and all that we are. Ah. And I affirm that this morning is God's day. This is the day that has been set aside for each of us to remember who we are and whose we are. And I'm so grateful for Rev Cynthia that is bringing a message of love and light and truth to help us grow into that greater, expansive being that each of us are. Oh, I'm so grateful for her message that reminds us, and I'm so grateful for the music by Patty and Dave that supports the message and uplifts our hearts. I'm so grateful for each and every person that is physically or virtually here in love and support of the Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living, so that it continues to be that driving force of love in this community and in the world. I'm so grateful for each and every volunteer that makes our Sunday mornings just seem so seamless and so easy, and just allows us to be enveloped in that feeling of love, safety, and security. How sweet it all is. And for every blessing that is bestowed upon each person and this center, I give great thanks. I'm so grateful for the way in which it is all unfolding for each of our highest and best good. And so from this place of pure faith and gratitude, I release my word into that activated law that has already said yes. And please join me in saying, and so it is.
Well, you can tell she's had some training.
Nice.
It's true.
It's true.
You're incredible, Lauren.
Oh no, what happened?
Oh no, what happened? We have fun up here. Some may call it work. It is not work.
Who's having a problem?
This is the most fun of my life. And I'm so glad that we are here to share it with you. It really is. I'm so glad that you're here, Reverend Cindy, too. And when we talked over our songs, you were so cool with me. Thank you so much for being so beautiful. I knew you were going to be that way anyway. You ready, David?
I'm trying. This thing is not cooperating.
He's playing it on the piano. That's cute. He has to shut it down and reprogram it. Just kidding. Something wonderful is happening to me.
Okay, here we go. Sorry,
right
everyone. Sorry.
now.
It was malfunction.
I could do it a cappella.
Okay, let's do it.
I was in the wrong key. All right. Thank God for his keyboard working. Whoa. All right. We couldn't do it without you. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Woo. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I accept things the way they are.
it's comfortable for you to please just turn to a neighbor and say good morning and welcome.
Good morning, beautiful Revs. Was that fun? I love it. I never thought about putting the mic in front of them. What am I thinking? Woo!
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
I know you want to sing, Dave.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Wow.
I accept things the way they are. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
All right. Okay. That's enough.
Yeah, that's it.
They're still hugging over
I
there.
know. I know. Ask permission.
We got some huggers.
Ask permission.
A lot of
I'm
huggers.
Reverend Cheryl Bell, co-senior minister, along with my sister, Reverend Stacy Hilton.
Woo!
Right here.
The
And
best.
Welcome. And who's here for the first time?
I am.
The first time today. You were here yesterday as well. Hi, how'd you hear about us? Oh, your sister Wanda. Welcome. Well, we welcome you and we thank God for you. Our ushers have a gift for you. Anyone else? All right, that's it, I think.
That's beautiful.
That's great. It's all good. Reverend Stacy, you have an announcement?
Go ahead.
Okay, today we're still in our season of nonviolence. Today, well, need these, sorry. Working on it. Upside down.
I don't know.
In
last
64
couple of
days, and we're on day 55, March 26th, the word for today is responsibility. Today, pick up trash that is not your own, whether in your community or somewhere else. Every little bit helps. There is, in every deliberation, we must consider the impact of our decisions on the next 7 generations. Wow, that's the great law of, how do you pronounce that? I have no idea.
Yeah, right.
It's a great law, though. Just so you know.
Great law.
Yes.
And it's about this long.
Yes, it's a long, long name. And, we had our annual meeting yesterday. I want to thank those of you that came. We had a good time, and there was fruit and pastries in the other room still, if you want to partake of that after service. And we welcome you. And Reverend Stacy, now do you have an announcement?
I do have an announcement. Next week, make sure that you are here because we have something called the Hermes going on. So particularly those people that volunteer, we want you to be here. Okay?
Yes. And those of you that are online, if you're here for the first time, please put something in the comment. And I think we're good. No matter where you are on your spiritual path, you'll always be welcomed here. Thank you for being here.
I think that's the best part of this place, right? They just love everyone. And God is everywhere. It's a beautiful song by Faith Rivera, who will be here in a couple of months. It will go by so quickly. She's doing the service and she's doing a concert after that, so make sure that you keep that day open. It's June 11th, I believe? Or
Yes.
Okay. This is a beautiful song by Faith Rivera. It's called God Is. Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in, out, and through me. is. She's the best. Thank you so much. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Faith.
Today is the best day ever.
It is the best day
It
ever.
really is. Mark your calendars for June 11th.
Yes.
I said, I may not know what to say, but I know what to play. So if you miss out on June 11th when Faith Rivera is here, it's your own fault. All right? So we've had a love letter from God. Thank you, Lauren. We've had Patty and Dave singing. I mean, I don't know that it gets better, but yes, wait a minute, it does. Because we also have Reverend Cynthia here, who, I love that that's your name. I really do. I really do love that. So for those of you that don't know or are not aware, Reverend Cynthia Clare is our founding minister of the Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living, a model for positive living. We shouldn't forget that part. All right, so let me read a little bit about Reverend Cynthia. Reverend Cynthia is an agape licensed spiritual counselor. Woo! She has a counseling practice where she assists individuals through various life experiences while cultivating the ability to live an empowered life. She graduated from Michael B. Beckwith School of Ministry in 2020. She is part of the education ministry and teaches at the Agape University of Transformation Studies, as well as assists in facilitating the Professional Practitioner Program. Through her studies at Mortar Institute, Reverend Cynthia became certified as a master trainer of the energy codes as created by Dr. Sue Mortar. She is also certified in spiritual BEST, B-E-S-T, I think that stands for something. Reverend Cynthia has a book coming out this year, which is already out, and it's entitled Life Finds a Way, A Journey of Healing and Return to Wholeness. She enjoys teaching individuals how to apply the teachings and practices to their everyday lives for their own spiritual transformation. And you can find out more about her on her website, www.cynthiaambriz.com. She will also be hosting our book club as our author for next in April, so the last Wednesday in April. So we'll be talking about her book with the author here. So buy the book. She's got books here. So please welcome Reverend Cynthia.
Hello, everyone. Hello. So yeah, the book came out. We have books available for you to purchase. I'll be talking a little bit about what's in the book today. And 25% will be tithed to CSL. So I encourage you guys to purchase a copy. And I love it. Patty was sharing with me that she was like, she goes, I hope the songs that I picked out for today, you like. And so far, everything has spoken to me and to the talk. Right? Even God is, because that's the beginning of this talk. I wanted for us to start at the beginning, which is God. And we're also at a very interesting time in our unfoldment, in our evolution as a species. At the moment, we're going through an up-leveling in consciousness that is inviting us to shift from the way that we have functioned, thought, and acted for the last couple of thousand years. We've been functioning from the divine masculine more so than the divine feminine. In fact, the divine feminine has been suppressed for quite some time. But because of the time that it is now, the divine feminine is being asked to step forward, which just basically means that we're shifting from thinking to thinking with the heart. We actually have three brains, right? We have this one, we have this one, and then we have the largest brain of all in our gut. You guys have heard the saying, like, I had a gut feeling? And no one has ever said, I wish I had not listened to my gut. So the invitation is for us to start thinking with our hearts, right? So shifting from the masculine, which is more analytical. The divine masculine is more assertive. The divine feminine is more about intuition, She's also considered like deep space. She's referred to as the cosmic mother. It looks like there's nothing there, like it's a big old void, but in reality, it's the space of infinite possibilities. So in the beginning, all there was God. But think of God as the librarian to the Akashic Records. Like, it knew every detail of every book, but it had not had the physical experience of what was in the books. And it wanted to. So in order for that to happen, it had to go from being one to two. And the saying is that from one come the many. Right? But when it split itself into two, it had to create the polarity of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So neither is better than the other. I want to make sure that you guys understand that. Both of us, or all of us, have both aspects within us. The invitation is, can we heal to such a degree that we embody these energies in a perfectly balanced way? I know that for myself, probably up until maybe just last September, I was functioning primarily, my come from was from the masculine. If I didn't do it, it wasn't gonna get done, right? And when I entered into a relationship with Jesse, I remember thinking, I need to give him space to be able to express like his masculinity. He was already very loving. He was way more balanced in his masculine and his feminine than I was. I was still primarily functioning from this analytical way of being and driving. So that has been the invitation primarily the last year or so for me. Can I allow myself to allow the divine feminine to begin to express more? Now, this story has been depicted throughout time. We refer to it as the Christos Sophia. The Christos is the Christ consciousness, the Sophia is the divine feminine. But when these two merge perfectly, then you and I have access to awakening, to higher states of consciousness, and we return to oneness. We return to the wholeness when these two energies are balanced within us. The way that this story was depicted in the Bible was a story of Adam and Eve. Right? The snake offered Eve an opportunity to bite the apple, which would give her access to more wisdom. And so the female was deemed as evil, negative. Don't give in to her. But it wasn't necessarily a woman that they were telling you not to give into. They were telling you, like, don't listen to the feminine, intuitive part of your own being. And I wore this coat purposely. Right? Because the snake was also viewed negatively because of this story. Now, when I was 5 years old, I was being exposed to a bunch of different religions. My mom was primarily Catholic. Her sister was Seventh-day Adventist. My best friend at school was Jehovah's Witness. Right? The neighbors across the street were Baptist. So I was being exposed to all these, and I was like, what? Who has the right God? Right? So I was over in Oxnard with my aunt for the summer, and I'm spending the weekend with her, and I had a vision the night before we were going to go to church. And I saw an image on the wall of Jesus, Mary. So Jesus was in the middle, Mary was on the right, and the serpent was on the left. And I kept rubbing my eyes all night long. And I would go under the blanket, and then I would come back out. And it stayed there until the sun came up. So the next day, my aunt asked me, like, what was going on with me? When I told her, I think they wanted to dunk me in the baptism bath when we got to church, right? To, like, exercise me or something. And I never knew what that dream meant, but at the time, the way that I interpreted it as a 5-year-old was, I have a 50-50 chance of going to hell or being good. Because the way that I had been taught was that the serpent represented the devil, right? wasn't until I started diving into other studies, and then I started learning about Kundalini energy, and I go, oh my God. It didn't mean that I had a 50-50 chance of being good or bad. It meant that there is an energy that's located at my root chakra that when I spend enough time in here and I cultivate the ability for it to start to rise, I awaken to the truth of life, of God, of myself. So do you see how we have been deterred from our divine feminine and the wisdom that's available via the snake?
I love it.
So, Adam and Eve, right, is somewhat of a story that is communicating that to us. A lot of this wisdom has had to be kind of like encrypted through stories. It hasn't been able to be, said straight out. Mary Magdalene and Jesus were also a wonderful happening that was here to communicate the same thing. He was an embodiment of the divine feminine. She was an embodiment of Sophia. And they came here at a time when there was so much density and darkness on the planet that they wanted to give us an opportunity to pierce some light, right, 2,000 years ago. And they wanted to show us what was possible, because he said, what I can do, you can do, and more. And poor woman, she was depicted as having been a prostitute because they did not want us to pay attention to what was actually going on. When in reality, Yeshua and Mary were brought up within the Essene community. They knew each other from the time that they were children. They both went off to foreign places to study, to Egypt, and the mystery schools of Egypt and India and Tibet, because they were going to be preparing to walk each other through the experience that Yeshua has said yes to, which was the crucifixion. Boy, like there was another story, right, that deflected or prevented us from realizing what was actually trying to be communicated. But Jesus says, may those who have eyes see, may those who have ears hear. You and I are destined. You cannot keep the truth suppressed or hidden. We're going to come up against it. It's going to show up for us when we're 5 years old on a wall, when we don't know what is happening and have never heard of the divine masculine or the divine feminine. So, in the beginning was God. There's only one. We're asked, do you want to take physical form? And you and I had to give a resounding yes. And then we hang out at this space, at the cosmic bus stop, as Dr. Sue refers to it. And we start putting in our requests for how it is that we want to unfold in this lifetime. And I feel like I must have picked 103 things that I wanted to do. And we have a cosmic team that's helping us, right, organize this blueprint before we show up here on Earth. And I'm sure somebody said you're being a little overly ambitious. No. I probably said that I wanted to learn how to access forgiveness, what it truly means to be unconditionally loving, and beyond that, I wanted to know what it meant to be divine love here on the planet. And so the book starts to unfold for me. Life finds a way. Right? So after I'm done casting my parents, because I cast my parents, and after I'm done casting my siblings and my spouses, and I think I only cast 2. Yes. No, I know I only cast 2. In fact, during a ceremony that Jesse and I did a long time ago, it took me 12 years to arrive at the point where I finally said I wanted to marry this man. And I booked a trip for us to go to Egypt. And after we arrived at the King's Chamber inside the Great Pyramid, legs shaking and all, because I was out of shape. I pulled out a ring and I asked Jesse if he would marry me. So that was, I think it was October, 2 Octobers ago. So, yeah, only 2.
That's some feminine energy right there. That is strong.
So, so now when I was 12 years old, it's probably one of the biggest experiences that I had, and I talk about this in the book. Back then, people used to warm up the car, right? They would go out, they would turn on the car, they would leave it running, they would go do something in the house, and then they would come in. So my mom put my sister in the back seat, inside of the car seat. It was first day of summer. I was sporting my new Nikes. I had on some really cute skirts and a pink sweater, and I was finishing the last of my pigtails. And we were getting ready to go somewhere when I heard my mom yelling from the outside. And I ran out of my room, and I ran out the kitchen door into this very long driveway. And I step outside and I see my mom frantic on the right, and our Toronado was going in reverse down the driveway across the street into the neighbor's driveway. And then my mom's still screaming. The car hits the neighbor's brick wall, shifts back into drive, and it starts coming straight back into our driveway. My mom runs to the door, tries to open it to get in, isn't able to open the door. I see the car coming and I think I can stop it. The car won. And so my mom, seeing this happening, thinks the car's gonna run me over and she can come and collect me. But that wasn't what happened. The car kept going down the long driveway with me underneath it. And as it went through the side of the house used to have like these concrete things that stood out like this. My leg went past it. And I felt it, like when it shattered. And the car kept going, and it crashed through the wall of the garage. It wedged itself. And all I could think, I could hear my mom screaming, and I could see her feet running back and forth, and she's going, "My daughters are dead, my daughters are dead." And I'm like, "I'm not dead." I'm like, "Call an ambulance." So then she disappears. And at this point, I'm 12 years old. I flunked out of catechism 5 years in a row because I could not memorize prayer. But there was a point when the weight of the car was like starting to come down on my lungs and I couldn't breathe anymore. And there was a stillness that was happening. It was so peaceful. And I started saying the Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom comes, thy will be done. And I felt like something invisible came and lifted the car. And all of this air came into my lungs. My mom comes back to the car. She jumps on the trunk of the car. She wants to access it to turn it off before my sister shifts it into gear again. But when my mom jumped on the trunk, the muffler came down on my leg. And I screamed and she got off. So I think a little bit of time goes by. And then this fireman, he's kind of cute.
So you weren't dead.
I guess I could hear they're hammering at the wall. So And once they hammer the wall away, they like lift the car and they pull me out. And he's like, what's your name? And I go, Cynthia Ambriz. He goes, and how old are you? I'm like, 12 years old. And when's your birthday? May 23rd, 1971. And what's your name? And I was like, I told you that already. And next thing you know, they're putting me in the ambulance, and I think I finally passed out at this point. Because when I woke up, I was in a white room with a bright white light, and I was like, now you did it. Right? I thought I was dead. But I noticed a nurse down at the end of the corridor, and then they rushed me into the ER. And I was like, well, the good news is you're not dead. So that was one of the life experiences. I guess I wanted to learn what it meant to be courageous. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You found out.
Right?
And now you know you can't stop the car.
Now I know. I don't try anymore. I know that I was willing to do whatever for my sister. So maybe it had something to do with love as well. Maybe it was because I was going to spend the next 3 months in the hospital going through a whole bunch of surgeries in order to be able to walk again. And in fact, I remember the doctor, overhearing the doctor telling my parents, she's not going to walk again. And in that moment thinking, oh, he doesn't know who I am. So maybe that was part of it, learning or discovering who it is that I really am. Now, there were several times in my life, and actually, when I think back, I wondered, or was that me trying to leave because of how big my order was for my life experience here on earth? Because when I turned 15, here comes another big experience, right? My mom went from being Mrs. Brady to me and the woman that I just loved so much. And thank God I made my way back to that love. But she went from being a housewife or working at AAA and raising 3 kids on her own to hanging out with people that sold drugs in large quantities and would cross them across the board. So one day my mom went to the dentist in TJ and she drove in her boyfriend's car, and the Border Patrol noticed that she was shaking. So they sent her to the secondary inspection. Turns out that her boyfriend's car tires were filled with kilos of cocaine. So I'm at home with my younger brother and my younger sister, and my mom calls me to tell me that she's at the federal prison in San Diego. They're actually going to let her come home because she told the judge that she had 3 kids, 3 minors at home. And I think, okay, this is it. This is the wake-up call that's going to force her to change, to leave those friends, to go back to being our mom. But instead, when my mom came back, she left with her boyfriend, and then she ended up fleeing the country and left me to take care of my brother and sister. And within 24 hours, the FBI were at our house. They were asking me where my mother was. I said, I don't know, but I know she's going to call us soon. So we were under surveillance for 24 hours a day, which was a good thing because the people that she used to socialize with, they were looking for her as well. They wanted the money for the drugs that was in the car that got impounded. So they were watching our house. So the FBI watching us was keeping us safe, right? So we became really good friends with the FBI. I didn't have a driver's license at the time, but they allowed me to drive my mom's car, to go to the market, pay the bills, pick up my brother and sister from school. It's like, and then when my mom would call, she would tell me what to say to the FBI agents, and this went on for a while. But what killed me was that when I told her, Mom, we only have a few days left, they're getting tired of waiting for you. can you please come home? She didn't. So the FBI agent told me that they were going to be coming the next day to take us away to social services. And this had already happened to my mother and her siblings, and I didn't want the story to repeat itself with us. So a friend of mine got us a getaway car, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, I snuck my brother and my sister out the back window of the house into the getaway car, and we drove to the Greyhound station in East LA. But instead of getting in a bus, we jumped into an unmarked van, and then we had the van drive us to the border. The whole time, my brother was on the floor of the van holding his head because he had a stress headache. He's 7 at the time. We jump out of the van, we see the border. I know my mom's on the other side of the border somewhere, and we make a run for it. And we check into the country club in Tijuana, and I call a relative that knows where my mom is hiding. And I say, okay, we're here. Can you have my mom come and get us? So the next day in the morning, there's a knock at the hotel door, and it's another relative, it's not my mom. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. And I told my brother and my sister, I said, you guys can go with our cousin, and the cousin will take you to mom, but I'm gonna go back home. I had just lost all faith and trust in her. So we parted ways. I came back to LA, went through a couple of more experiences. Found my way to Agape when I was 38. And I heard Reverend Michael say, what do you want your health for? And at this point, I had had an autoimmune condition which caused me to lose my mobility. But I had never thought about that. I was like, he's right. Like, I worked 9 to 5, sometimes overtime. I had worked at a law firm for a long time. And I would come home, have a glass of wine, have a steak, go to bed, do it all over again. But when he asked me, what do you want your health, when he asked the congregation, what do you want your health for, was the first time I began to ask, what do I want it for? And so at that point, my mom had come back to the States, my brother and my sister were now adults, but everyone was still very much used to calling me in emergencies, and there I would go running 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. So when I got to Agape and I started taking classes, and I said, maybe it's time for me to start focusing on me. Maybe it's time for me to start to heal some of the stuff that I've been through. I used to think that I was shy, but now when I think back, I'm like, that was probably PTSD. So I said to God, here's my mom, here's my brother, here's my sister. Can you please take care of them? So, they got really mad. I would be taking classes at Agape, and I would be pulling up to the driveway, and I would have these scathing messages from everybody. Everybody was so upset. But it was the best thing I ever did. I thought God was so funny, right? I ended up in practitioner studies. I was like a feral cat. I would run from my car into classes hoping nobody would see me or talk to me. And Achille, Reverend Michael's brother, would scream out from the bookstore as I was running past the hallway, I see you. And I would be like, what do you see? Please don't look. I just felt like there was so much wrong with me. And I thought it was hilarious that somehow I made it through all the prereqs at Agape, and I'm sitting in prac studies, and it's day 1, And they said, you're gonna have to pray out loud with people. And I was like, what?
Yeah, you're there. We see you.
I'm like, you are funny. It only ever showed me the next step and the next step and the next step, right, to keep me on track. So, ministerial studies is coming. I've made it through prac. I've been out of prac for a few years. Ministerial studies is coming. It's Jesse's birthday. We're driving to Sedona to celebrate. There's a big old thunderstorm following us. And that thunderstorm was how I was feeling internally. I'm not doing ministerial school, I told you. Jesse and I go up to Cathedral Mountain, and that's like supposed to be an easy hike, but it starts thundering and raining, and somehow we get stuck on the mountain for 6 hours. And I was like, it felt like the Twilight Zone, like no matter what road we took, we could not end up at the bottom. So that night we get back to our hotel room, Reverend Michael shows up in a dream and he says, as you walk, you will heal. And I go, no, ministerial studies cannot be a part of my physical healing. It just can't. Because I still have this autoimmune condition. I'm like, please don't make me do that. So, sure enough, we come home. I fill out the application. And actually what had happened was my hip went out because of the 6-hour hike. So when we came home and I turned in the application, my hip went back in. And I was like, damn it, he meant that literally. As you walk, it will heal. All right, so Dr. Sue said in 2016, about the same time I started ministerial school, they brought her in to teach us a workshop. She said, big souls come in for big lessons and they usually get started right away. I was like, are you telling me that this wasn't random? Everything that's been going on in my life? And she goes, and how many of you have had a parent that was not present or both? I turned around, I looked at the room, and like 80% of the room had raised their hand. She said, if you didn't have a parent or both, it's because you didn't need them. It's because of how big your soul is. And I go, oh my God. Whatever she has, I need to know. So 2018, we go to Cancun, we do level 2 with Dr. Sue. I'm having really vivid dreams while I'm there with her. This Asian girl comes to me in a dream and she goes, I have a secret. Can I share it with you? And I was about to say yes, and my ex-husband shows up in my dream. And my ex-husband used to suppress my voice. I wasn't allowed to talk, have friends, to hang out with family. So he shows up and he's trying to tell me in the dream you can't talk to her. And I was like, don't you tell me what you do. Right, like I could feel the energy in my dream. And it was funny because it was like exit, stage left. He vibrated out of the dream. And I turned back to the child, the girl, and I said, tell me, what is your secret? And she goes, I am both male and female. So I asked Dr. Sue the next day when we went into the study, I said, what do you think it means? And she goes, what do you think it means? So in 2018, that's happening. There's already some God guidance coming through telling me that there's a divine masculine and divine feminine that needs to come into coherence. So in 2012, just to backtrack a little bit, when I first got to Agape, and I took my first meditation class with Keely, I had an experience in that class. And it was uncommon. I had had an experience when I was 5. Here was this one. During the meditation, I saw the silhouette of a woman and the silhouette of a man. And they were holding each other by the hands, and they were twirling around in the forest. And there were trees, and then the voice of God spoke. And the voice said, "This is why I love you." And at the time, to me, meditation was doing nothing. And I was a doer. And I go, "Are you telling me that you love me when I do nothing?" And God responded, "Yes, that's what I'm telling you." That's what I'm telling you. So even in that experience, right, there was the masculine and the feminine. So when I asked Dr. Sue in Cancun in 2018, because here comes this dream sharing the same message, she said, when we finally merged the masculine and the feminine, she goes, we return to our wholeness. Because that's where it all began. It began in God. So all of this stuff that has happened, that's in the book, Life Finds a Way, and of course there's so much more. But there was this one point in 2019 where I set an intention. I said, I'm tired of living in fear. So I had, because of the condition, stopped working in May of 2018. I showed up to work one day, my hands weren't working anymore. I couldn't move them. So Spirit came, lifted me up out of my job. I started doing stem cell therapy. I started smoking toads. I started working with plant medicines and shamans, whatever it was going to take to help me heal. And it's all helped a lot. There was a lot of emotional trauma, a lot of PTSD, and I had never even really dove into the entire experience of what happened in my life. So my girlfriend calls me, and she goes, I want to celebrate my 50th birthday in Paris. Will you come with me? And I said to Adrian, I'm barely able to walk. But I decided to go with her. And as an offshoot of Paris, we went to a place called Fatima. And this is a place in Portugal where the Virgin Mary is said to have appeared to 3 children and delivered a prophecy years ago. So when we were there, I delivered a prayer at that site. And I said, I will go home and I will go back to work, but you give me a body that allows me to do that. And if not, you show me what you want me to do with the rest of my life. The next morning, I got a phone call from an insurance person that had been investigating my medical case. And she had been mean to me for like 8 months, not believing that I had a condition, trying to disprove it in every possible way. And when I saw her name on the caller ID, I said I wasn't going to be afraid of you anymore. Hello? She goes, I'm just calling to let you know that we have deemed you disabled and that we will pay you 70% of your salary until you turn 67. And I go, oh, so you want me to focus on being a minister? Okay. Right? So, all of these experiences, what are they for? For me, they've helped me to realize my oneness with God more and more. In the moments when I thought that I was alone, it turns out that it was right there, and probably a legion of 1,000 angels along with it. Right? When I was underneath the car, when we were running across the border, when one of the last things that happened recently to me last summer was that Jesse and I got married in February, and I ended up with double coverage, his insurance and mine. And because his insurance became my primary, the people that I get my medication from for the autoimmune condition said, oh, we don't take his insurance, so we're going to refer you out to somebody else. And I said, all right, no big deal. I have double coverage. I ended up going 5 months without treatment because who knows why. And I was losing mobility. I lost mobility again. And the doctor that I had just signed up with here didn't understand that that was what happened to me, so there was no sense of urgency on his part to get me set up. So I go into my office and I go, okay, God, what are you up to this time? And God said, you still think that you need the medication. You still think that you need a doctor. What I need you to know is that I am your source in all things. Get on the floor, it said. Put your face to the ground. Put your heart to the ground. You let me hold you. So I did. It felt good to be held. And he goes, I need you to, he goes, there was still this much space between you and me, and I need there to be none. So after that night, I think the next day, I got a phone call from the Cancer Infusion Center. They said, we know you don't have cancer, but we'll give you your treatment. Come here. I had a trip scheduled for the south of France in September. It was now August. I knew I was gonna have to scale mountains to get to some of these destinations, and I could barely walk. And Jesse wasn't gonna go with me. I was gonna have to do this trek from Las Vegas to the south of France by myself. Really? You still think you're by yourself? So I get to the south of France. Each night that I go to sleep, right, we're walking the trail of Mary Magdalene, we are retracing her steps. Each night that I go to sleep, I enter a giant womb, and I feel like I'm being healed on every level. We get to Lourdes, which is another sacred place of healing, and I leave my group and I go and I sit in front of the statue, and I keep opening my eyes. I'm trying to meditate, but I open my eyes because I feel like something is forcing air up my nose. So I say to Dr. Sue, was something forcing air up your nose? I go, I was sitting in front of Mary. She goes, that wasn't Mary. She goes, that was the cosmic mother. That was Sophia. And it took me to when I was underneath the car and I didn't have air, to here she is resuscitating me as I'm sitting in Lourdes, breathing air up my nose. That night I go to sleep, and again I'm back in the cosmic womb, and I wake up because I'm dancing with Sophia. And I get out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I continue dancing to the melody that I'm hearing. So in that moment, life finds a way. My experience, what has been my experience in this life, it's shattered. And it helped me realize and see that the love has been present all along. From all of the characters that have played a role in my life, and even more profoundly that of God. So I just wanted to share that with you. That in whatever way your life has unfolded, you're being asked and invited to allow these two aspects of your being to merge so that you too can return to the wholeness from where it all began. Thank you. Just invite you to close your eyes in this moment as we take a breath, the most sacred of breaths. So how grateful and thankful I am for the presence of God, its divine love, to know that truly it is our source in all things, and that it is loving us on this journey of awakening, for it is so delighted when we return home. And so I'm grateful and thankful for all that has transpired throughout each one of our lives, to know that we have never been alone, and that we're all walking each other home. And that in fact it is already done in the heart and mind of God, and so we get to be in celebration of it all. Resisting nothing, accepting it all, surrendering to the only thing that's real, this divine love. Amen.
Can't wait to read your book.
Wow. He had me there. He had me. He had me there. I was like this. Phew. I mean, Reverend Cindy, I think I may call you Reverend Superwoman. Stop in a car. You haven't changed. You still are that person. Wow. So grateful for you and your talk. I chose a beautiful song. Haven't heard in a while, I bet, most of you. It's called Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
They welcome and they will go. you will know. Yeah, 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 you'll know.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to ask our ushers to please come forward. This is our opportunity to practice circulation and prepare our gifts for receiving. Are you ready to receive? All right, if you would please take your gift in your hand and say our affirmation that's on the screen with us. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal, bless, and prosper. It is evidence of my faith and belief. It does good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And for whatever reason, if you feel that you do not have a gift to share, please put a thought of your own abundance in the basket and just know that it is just the truth of who you are. And so it is.
So it is.
Gotta sing with me now. It's important.
I do believe I will receive. I just have to know and then declare it to be so with an open mind and just a little bit of time. If it serves my highest good, then it will be mine. Woo! I do believe that I will receive. I just have to know and then declare it to be so with an open mind. It's all it takes. It's just a little bit of time. If it serves my highest good, then it is mine. Sing it, Daisy. Anything I want, it is mine. Perfect health, it is mine. Yeah, joy and peace, it is mine. Love, 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 it is mine. If it serves my highest good, then it is mine.
What a fabulous service. Thank you
Yeah,
so
it really
much.
was. Everything. Excellent.
From beginning to end.
Excellent.
Well, we all have a chance to buy. Look in the back of your chair. In front of the back of your chair that you're looking at, you'll see a tag there, and it's got someone's name on it. And we have just a few of these left, but you have a chance to put a tag there in memory of someone, a family member, a wedding anniversary date, whatever you choose to do. And they're just $100 to put a tag on each one, so we have a tag on every one of these chairs. And 100% of the proceeds go to support the center. So we can do that right away, and in the bookstore, I'm sure you can pay for it there. The Healing Words Book Club is meeting this Wednesday at 4 p.m. on Zoom, reading the book Wild Mercy. And next month, on the last Wednesday of the month, on the 26th of April, of course, we're going to be having Rev Cynthia's book, Life Finds a Way. And I bet you we can sell them today, and I bet since she's here, she'll sign them for you too. So, yeah. Then we have Patty Powers is going to be in concert.
Can't wait.
A week from Thursday, 7 p.m. We can't wait. That's the day before Good Friday.
Yeah, it's something like that.
So
yeah.
we all have off that day, right? So we can all come.
I'm just thinking about the concert.
The
Sorry, God.
concert, 7 p.m.
It's good fun.
Let's see here. I'm going to say, okay, the Easter lilies, we're just paying for $12 for an Easter lily to line up across the stage here, and you can buy those in the bookstore too. And that's also, again, in memory of someone or anyone that you want to honor.
I love that.
Easter lilies. Then we have our famous Daisy Sparks is going to be doing our midweek inspiration a week from Wednesday on the 6th, I think, 5th, on the 5th. And we're going to be studying all the beliefs of our system here. And so if you can, she's going to tell us more about it next Sunday. We're going to get her up here and talk about what she's going to talk about, because it's going to be very exciting on Zoom at 6 p.m. Wednesday, midweek practitioner inspiration. And if you have any prayer support, please send your prayers to prayer@lasvegascsl.org or text 702-524-7096. And don't forget, everything's on sale in the bookstore, so be sure to check the bookstore with the books on sale. 60% off on the window and next to the cash register. And everybody have a fabulous rest of the day.
Thanks, Kitty. You too.
You gotta say.
I just like to.
I would like to ask our ministry of prayer team to please come forward. Any visiting ministers or practitioners are also invited to come forward. These are the folks that hold the center up.
Oh, yeah.
Please don't leave here with a heavy heart. Any one of them would love to pray with and for you, as each prayer is also for themselves. All right. I would like to ask, hey, I think I did. I would like to ask you all to stand so we can sing our peace song, as Rev Cynthia has already done our closing prayer.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, loved ones all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me.
Before our affirmation, Rev Cynthia will be signing books in the Happy Baby room, which is that room right there. The multi-purpose room, which is where the goodies are. What else? Please, for those that are, for new people, new guests, please sign our guest book. Don't forget to sign our guest book. All right? Repeat after me. Something wonderful has happened to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
I know this in my mind.
I know this in my mind.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Great week.
Let's do one last dance together. What do you think? I like it. I like it. Oh yeah. Woo. Because you know I'm all about that bass, no treble. I'm all about that bass, no treble. I'm all about that bass, no treble. I'm all about that bass, bass. It's pretty clear, I ain't no size 2, but I can shake it,